Hello, everybody. It's Lori. Welcome to SumoWriMo. I have been waiting for this all day, and I am um, hoping that some of you are here. So I know a lot of you will be catching this on the replay. We have some international folks, and so I will consider the timing issues when I do this again. So um, please, thank you for coming. I'm so glad you're here. I am literally sitting in a pool of sweat right now because we have an uncharacteristic heat wave in June. I live by the coast in Rancho Palos Verdes, and it is really hot here right now. But in my writing studio, also known as the guest bedroom in my house, um, this is where the air conditioner makes a massive sound. So I can't really do a live and have the air conditioner on. Um, these are problems I can get over. So, anyway, welcome to here to everybody. And if you guys can start doing some comments, I'm already seeing a few come in. But if you can start doing some comments, maybe saying the town where you live or the state if you want to be a little anonymous, or the country, and maybe your first book of the summer. That would be fabulous. So I'm going to scroll a little bit just to see if people can hear me. I want to just deal with any technical issues we might be having. um, I am noticing that a lot of my comments are coming here. um, let's see. Okay. I'm confused why some of these comments are coming here, but anyway, um, someone just said, "Hi, Mama." I think that's going to be Carrie, but I'm not seeing anyone's names show up. So in the replay, the names will show up. So I'm just going to keep going here, and hopefully names will show up. Um, I'm seeing that we've got Long Beach, California, while cooking dinner for two fussy toddlers. I know who that is. Beloved Carrie. Watching from New Hartford, Connecticut, reading The Salt Path. Okay, you guys, that is such a great book. I hope everybody reads it. Okay, so I'm just going to start going here. And maybe for now, if you guys can just maybe put your first name so I just don't say hello, comment from Facebook, that would be helpful. This is a glitch with Be Live and Facebook for permissions. So we're trying to deal with it, but it's always a thrill with technology. I'm good on the writing stuff, but the technology is a thrill. Okay, so just some housekeeping things first. All the files and papers and everything for this class are in the files section of our SumoWriMo group. You can find them all there. You can also find a lot on my website, but the SumoWriMo group is really easy. Also, kind of have a plan for where you're going to write things. I have my trusty little SumoWriMo journal already, but I also just have a standard journal that I do a lot in. I do most of my deikus in here. So just do what works for you. This is just totally meant to be fun and just to keep our pens moving across pages this summer. So think about that. If you have questions during the class, if I've said anything that's unclear, or you're just wondering about anything, please put them in the comments. I'm seeing comments. After each little section of this tonight, I will check those comments. So if I don't address it right away, I have notes to myself to check the comments. So, all right. So those are the few little housekeeping things. And now what I want to do is scroll our slides to where I already ignored them and just give you an overview of what we're going to do tonight. I'm going to give us a little opening inspiration. I always like to read some words of a great writer just to get me in a space for writing. Any order that you do SumoWriMo is fine. Spatter your daykus whenever, read your books whenever, do your writing whenever. It's really what works for you. And in our journal, we're going to jump around a little bit tonight because I'm going to cover a lot of those things. Um, so in a little minute after inspiration, I'm going to talk about books, summer reading books. I'm going to talk about daykus. I'm going to talk about writing, and I will get you guys going in a piece for tonight. I will talk about sharing your writing and the little tiny bit of homework if you choose to do it, and then a closing inspiration. So that's the plan for tonight. All right. So I read last week this book. It's called The Muses Among Us. It's by Kim Stafford. He is William Stafford's son. William Stafford is one of my all-time favorite poets. He died quite a few years ago. He was the poet laureate for years. Kim Stafford teaches at Lewis and Clark College in Oregon, and he's a great writing teacher. So this book is just lovely. And in one part of his book, he tells us to attend to the common muse. And I want to read exactly what he says. I'm going to go to page 17 in my book and read to you from this. And this is what he tells his students when they start school. I urge them to attend to the common muse, for the muses are all around us. They seem ordinary, but are very, very busy and generous. I listen everywhere. Hush my companion when a good story drifts into range. Pull out my notebook and smile. So I feel like being aware during the summer and especially writing the daykus really puts us in a place of attending to our common muse. We don't have to have these extraordinary things happen to us to write beautiful pieces. He also goes on to talk about being a close witness of the world. And he tells this story about his grandmother, which I'm going to read to you right now. I just love this. And it was about when his grandmother was pregnant with Kim Stafford's mom. There's a story in my family that my grandmother's physician, during her pregnancy, prescribed an hour of beauty a day. There is no report of dietary restrictions, exercise. No, she was simply to take her music or her sunset or the unworked colors of the quilt spread by the lamp before her. While others did chores, she sat on the porch and watched the slow inevitability of the twilight, heard the crickets chattering, and the beginning of the world night by night. She was to take these things to nourish her child, my mother, within her. I feast on this story. It teaches me the fundamental practicality of close witness of the world, which is the beginning of art. Okay, cool, right? Um, I love this idea of being a close witness of the world. And I think as writers, that's something we all do. So that's our opening inspiration. Now I want to move to books. As you guys might have noticed, I'm really into books. I'm going to look at our comments right now, and I think we've got a few books that people are reading. Um, we have someone from Tennessee and reading Orange World by Karen Russell. And then Monica in Idaho, her first book of summer is Little Heathens. Gets a 10 out of 10. I have never heard about that book. This is what's so exciting to me because I heard about the Salt Path from this book. And then I put something on Facebook about that. And someone mentioned Paris by the Numbers. So that's a book I haven't heard of that I wanted to read. So we've got another person reading Salt Path. So I hope that we will be inspiration to each other and give comments about things that we want to read to each other. So Emerson, as in Ralph Waldo, says this about reading. Emerson, now I'm not sure I really agree with this little comment here, but I'm going to give it to you anyway because I think it's good food for thought. Emerson advised us never to read a whole book, for there are too many and life is short. We should, he said, sip the best pages we find and then close the book and move on. He advocated a kind of intellectual hunting and gathering. A deer does not consume the whole prairie, but takes the most tender and nutritious buds, the earth offers, knowing by experience which flavors best give life. So it's really hard for me just to sip, but I think it's good things to think about. So far, I've been reading books, except for Prairie Fires. That one I couldn't stop reading because I was really interested in the content, but the writing didn't thrill me. Anyway, okay, so let me show you right now my book list. So far, I have The Salt Path, Last Bus to Wisdom, The River, which I am chomping at the bit to read. I'm saving it for vacation when I'm going to be on a plane. When I'm distracted, it's kind of hard for me to read on planes, but I have a feeling that's like one of the big books of the summer. Anyway, and I just started Where the Crawdads Sing this morning. Oh my gosh, I'm in love with that book so far. If you can find me someone who doesn't like that book, I would love to have a chat with them because it seems like everyone loves that book. Okay, so one of the couple things I want to say about this book list. First of all, you'll notice there's a question mark on number 5. I have like 5 books on deck that could fill that spot. These 4 that you see are the ones I know for sure I'm going to read. I want to leave myself a little bit of flexibility because, like, someone has just said, read Paris by the Numbers. And now we have Little Heathens. Okay, that's a 10 out of 10. That looks pretty impressive to me. So, I just want to give myself flexibility. I definitely get influenced by people I respect who tell me, oh, that's a good book. That's pretty much how I choose my books often. The other thing is I want to say is there's flexibility in this. I had the Highland Lady on my list. It's like a brick and it's got super small print. I'm just not in the mood for that right now because I just finished Prairie Fires. So anyway, that's my advice with the book list. It's completely what you want it to be. And yeah, if you have questions about the book list, by all means, put them in here and I will check them in a few minutes. Okay. So again, you guys can read those as quickly or in whatever order that you want. This is what my journal is looking right now. This is my Sunshine Lines page for Prairie Fires. So a couple things I want to say about this first. Sunshine lines are lines that you love when you read them in a book. And when I choose a sunshine line, I choose based on 2 things. Content. Maybe it's just saying something that is making me think in a different way or something just really new. Also, if I see beautiful writing that just moves me or that I think, oh, maybe I could mimic that sentence structure, I will put a sunshine line. So that's what that is. Now on Prairie Fires, you can notice here, I have 1 line. And it was really the thing that intrigued me about this book that Laura Ingalls Wilder basically wrote those books on a tablet and scratched them with a pencil. So, she was old school, obviously writing, but the writing in this book didn't really move me so much. So, it is okay if you read a book. And I mean, I still am glad I read Prairie Fires because it's a time and a part of my childhood that, and an historical period that is really interesting to me. It's kind of my sweet spot. But I didn't love the writing, so I didn't have that many sunshine lines, and that's okay. Now, alternatively, you're going to see, I think I skipped ahead. Here is my sunshine line page from Muses Among Us. There were tons of lines in here that just struck me. I had to pick. And so I even went on the back of my page and noticed, you guys, I'm not being too precious about this journal. I'm even using, so funny. These are like old school. These are my daughter's like markers from school. They're Pentel kind of wide tip. I never use these markers, but I feel kind of playful with this journal. And I hope you guys do that too, or do it the way that you want it to be. All right. The other thing I want to mention to you, and I see a couple questions, so I'll come to those in just a minute. I just finished The Salt Path. As if you guys have seen in our group, I love that book. And there's so many lines that move me about that book. So, one of the things you can do is, for example, um, there are two lines. I'm going to find them. I'm looking in my journal right now. So, this is my salt path page. And on the back, you can see I went to the back because there were too many. There are two lines that just inspire writing in me. So, for example, this was the land of my content. Well, that makes me think of places like, what are my lands of content? I could write off of that piece. That could become a micro memoir down the road. So be open to these lines also inspiring your writing. Another one, which I really think I will write off of this one, if you feel you have a question, you must answer it. That made me think. And so I may write off of these lines for my micro memoirs. And what I love about this kind of challenge is it's not rigid. Yes, I want you writing, I want you reading, but you don't know what's going to come before you in the next weeks, when you pay attention to the world, when you pay attention to the common muses. And so just be open to those things. Because I feel like the salt path is going to get some writing out of me that I didn't anticipate. And that's the exciting part. Okay, so before I move on to the Deku part of this, I see a great question. Should our reading only be fiction? And that's from Kirsten. It can be anything. It can be picture books. It can be poetry books. Um, you know, it could be People Magazine if you want it to be. I don't know. But, it really can be what is on your heart to read right now. Right. And then we have a person watching from St. Louis, Missouri, in a Panera. That makes me so happy. I love it. All right, I'm going to go on to Deku's, and please ask questions if as you have them. My slide's a little out of order, so I want to give you. I'm going to go ahead because okay. So this has to do with Deku's, and I ordered Bomba socks a few weeks ago. I'm a total convert to them, but this came in the packaging. There is a haiku on the Bombas marketing. Smart marketers. And it's a happiness haiku. And it says, "Hark, extreme comfort, plus happiness guaranteed every single time." So this is my way of saying that haiku is super hot right now. So what I did with this is I thought, okay, I want to write my own happiness haiku. So I made a little frame for it and I put it in my book. So mine's called a happiness haiku. Now I tried to do it exactly the way theirs was, but it just didn't work that well. So I just thought of one thing that makes me happy that's 5 syllables. And then I had that 7-syllable line and that last one, the last 5-syllable line. So I have hearing wind in pines means happiness guaranteed every single time. So I'm sitting here, my door is open because it's so hot. I can actually hear wind in the pines right now. And that takes me right back to Yosemite Valley and hiking. So that makes me happy. That sound makes me happy. So again, there's a moment where I'm being attentive to the common muse, right? So that was just my little intro to haiku. But now I want to talk about the tips and tricks for haiku. And the page that's in the files has a lot more detail. It's about 2 pages. It has pictures. I would really take a look at that if you want any direction about haiku. If you are just, I'm good to go, I don't need it, you're fine. So one thing I would say with the Dekus, which is day plus haiku, Deku, me being kind of cute, write when inspired. Like I don't sit and say, okay, at 8:30 every day, I'm going to write a haiku. If I get inspired by something, I'll do a haiku. So this morning, after my daughter and I read at the breakfast table, I snapped a picture of that and wrote a haiku about summer reading. You don't have to do pictures with yours. You don't have to post yours. You can do whatever you want, but just write when you're inspired. The other thing is think of the page as a playground. So when I compose my haiku, on one side, I write on the left side of my journal, I'll just write my drafting. It'll be a mess. I'll cross out. Because haiku are so short, you have a lot of landscape on the page to do that. Then on the right side, I'll rewrite it nice. And if I wasn't posting these on Instagram, I probably wouldn't even rewrite them. I just like the experience of doing it. And for example, today, though I just composed on my phone, actually, I didn't even write it down. So that's just food for thought there. Just do it in the way that works for you. The other tip I want to give you for haiku is I start with a seed idea and I just write that idea on the page. And I don't start with like, I'm doing the first line or I'm doing the title. I just get that seed idea on the page and then I play. Is it closer to 7 syllables? Is it closer to 5? Does it sound like a last line? Does it sound like a first line? And then I just play. I just move things around and just have fun with it. And one of my biggest tricks for you is if I'm feeling too constrained by those 17 syllables, I make a super duper long title that explains what I feel like I can't explain in that haiku. And then sometimes that changes the structure of my haiku, but I'm kind of a rogue with these and it's fine. Okay. That's all I'm going to say about the deikus. If you have any questions, please add those. And again, if you miss a question here, you can put it in the group. But that's what I'm going to say there. I have one other thing. I did in your journal put a little template for a haiku if you want to use it to get started. For some of you, it might feel super constrained. So this is the one, a moment held in 17 syllables. And for these, I really feel like I need a long title. So a moment is held in 17 syllables. And then I put what that moment is. It's got to be a 5-syllable moment, thus the long titles. So I wrote these the other day when I was making this presentation. And in the distance, I heard my husband blowing his nose. This is a common thing every morning we hear. He has severe allergies. So I just wrote a title, How I Know It's Morning and My Beloved Husband is Awake. There's the deiku. Here's another one. You'll recognize the pines. Memories of Yosemite when I'm at home. A moment is held in 17 syllables. Sound of pine in the winds. I'm all zen now and mellow. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't see who this is, but I am loving this person. A moment is held in 17 syllables. Carpe diem, bitches. Oh my goodness. Okay, we got some energy in this room. All right. So, speaking of carpe diem, we're going to talk about the writing piece now. We're going to go right into our first piece, which is a random autobiography. And I'm going to give you a bit of background here. All right. Okay. Who wrote that comment? That's wild. I hope some crazy person hasn't come into our group. No, anyway. Okay. All right. So, okay. From Zen to woo. All right. Random autobiography. This idea, I'm not really sure who first came up with it. I first heard about it at the Writing Project, which is at UCSB. It's a national writing project. Kim Stafford claims it. Linda Reeve claims it. These are all amazing writing teachers. Kim Stafford says that his dad brought it to him. So basically, this is a list piece, like a list poem. There's no chronology. You can ignore a sense of importance from events in your life or unimportance. Everything when we write, you just kind of welcome it. It's a list of recollections from your life in no particular order. And I'm going to read to you what Kim Stafford says about it in his book, just to give you a few more directions. All right, I'm going to put on my readers because I was trying to get it, but it was hard. Okay. It dispenses with chronology. It ignores any sense of the importance or non-importance of particular life episodes. Every memory is welcomed as it arrives. This writer simply lists recollections in a kind of musical sequence as they come to mind. At times, one incident might follow another by the bridge of a color or a time of day or the sound of a word. Other times, the writer had simply done two things twice, and by this they fit together: two losses, two visits to the same town. All right, so I'm going to read you the piece that Kim Stafford is talking about there. It is in the handout that had the writing samples. There's one of my random autobiographies and then Marianne Larson's. And I'm going to read hers. I just love it. She teaches at Cypress College, or did teach there in California. I think she's a psychologist. And here we go. I'm going to read it to you. I was the expected Valentine that arrived before I learned early that red socks are warmest. I've held a tarantula in my hand and felt the chill, the tiny hairs. Panned for gold at Garnet, Montana, a ghost town. No luck. I've heard thunder in the depths of a snowstorm. I lost my first love and my pet canary, Pierre, all in one day. I've held a stunned finch in my hand, regaining his senses after flying into the front window. I once kissed an anarchist. I once suffered pneumonia, and only once ate a whole raw onion on a dare. Twice I lost my baby bracelet, dainty gold chain, miniature pearls, and little heart of gold. And twice I've driven through Gilroy, California, the garlic capital of the world. We hopscotched until chalk lines scuffed and faded. I have landed more big fish than most men can say got away. Just a toddler, I toddled toward a cliff, but was saved by ruffled panties that Dad grabbed. Aurora Borealis has played for me more often than I deserve. I have shopped at Oops, I think my mouth was over the microphone. Did you guys hear that? Oh my gosh. Anyway, I have shopped at Kmart. My silver baby cup is all banged up. I am licensed to practice. Can someone tell me if that was all muffled because my paper was in front of my microphone? Anyway, I live and learn as I do this. All right. So I'm going to give you the directions for writing this piece even a little bit more clearly right now. And then after we go offline, that's when you're going to write it, or whenever you want to. Thank you for the muffled. Thank you for the comment about the microphone. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I will learn not to put my paper in front of it as we keep going. So again, when you guys get off the live, write for 10 minutes, and I will give you all the instructions for that. I'm not expecting you to do it this second, okay? So I am going to take you all the way through that. All right. The ways that you can start your random autobiography, you can look on page 23 in your journal, and there's a little bit of a list there. And I'm also going to give you a list right here. So you could start lines with, I was born, I remember. You can read the whole list there yourself. Or you can start with one of those and then just keep going yourself. Okay. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to do this. I don't expect you to do this in any kind of chronology. All right. It's just to get you started. Okay. Now, when you do this, I want you to do it as a quick write. And quick writes are explained in your journal on page 24. And if you've worked with me before, you know about quick writes. The reason we write quickly is to outrun our internal censor, because what we're doing is really complex. You're being open to a lot of ideas and you're being critical of, have I written this well? I want you to outrun that, okay? And I'm going to wipe the sweat off my face because it's really hot. All right. So during a quick write, you write for 10 minutes. You keep your pen moving or your hands typing. Don't stop writing. If you get stuck, just write, I'm stuck, I'm stuck, I'm stuck. And then when you're done, you can come back and cross that out again. Don't worry about punctuation or spelling or grammar. No one in our group is going to see these pieces. We are just going to be reading them out loud if you choose to do that. And you'll do this after your live is over. Now, I did mine a little bit earlier today, and you can see, I'm going to show you what it looks like, what a mess it is. Okay. So here's mine right now. Look at all those crossouts. Okay. Just let it happen. It's totally, totally fine. All right. Any questions on how to do that random autobiography? Put them in the comments if you have any questions. When you're done with your random autobiography, what I want you to do is find your sunshine lines. Remember, I talked to you about doing sunshine lines for the books that you've read. Now, what I want you to do is sunshine lines for your own writing. Okay. Sunshine lines are described on page 29 in your journal. Basically, out of your random autobiography, I just want you to pick 4 of your favorites. And there's space in your journal on page 30 and 31 to write those. I want you to email me your most favorite one. Okay? Just email me one. If you don't, you'll be super sad because I'm going to do something really cute with them in our next meeting. Okay? All right. Any questions at all about writing the random autobiography, quick writes, or sunshine lines? Put them in the comments. And even if you guys are on replays, I think a lot of you are going to be on replays. You can put them in the comments and I'll be able to answer those questions because I'll keep checking back into the group. All right. So now I'm coming to the part about encouraging you guys to share your pieces in our group after you've done the writing. Okay. So I'm giving you a quote that I always share. It's by Peter Elbow, and I love it. When we read our words to others, we learn about our writing with enormous efficiency, simply by feeling the shapes of our words and sentences in our mouths and hearing them in our ears. It's an easy way to learn about writing. Hear what you like and imitate it. Hear what you don't and get rid of it. Now, in our group, we're not going to super focus on editing and revision. What I would say to you guys is after you write a piece, just read it out loud, see what it sounds like. And if you have a place where you stumble, notice that. Does it need a little tweak? Or in this case, don't worry about it. No one is going to give any negative feedback in here. We are just going to give you guys, when you share your pieces, sunshine lines. Okay. So the way you're going to do this is to go live in our group. Not like I am. I'm live through Be Live TV. This would just be live in the Facebook group. You'll just hit the little live part of it, like you're making a regular post. And just read your writing. Now, my piece tonight, I kind of wrote myself in a corner because I was trying to do way too much with my piece. I'm going to read my piece without apology after our broadcast to model for you the courage to get your words out there, hear what's working. I know I'm kind of stumbling on an idea I like for my random autobiography, and it's just not there yet. In 10, 20 minutes, truth, I wrote for 20 minutes. In that short amount of time, nothing's going to be perfect. We're all here together doing that. So I really encourage you to go live. And I don't want anyone in this group to feel overwhelmed by oh my gosh, I got to comment on everybody. For me, in a lot of Facebook groups, I quit them because I just get so overwhelmed by feeling like I'm not a good member because I don't comment a lot because I just don't have time. So here's my expectation for this group on that. If you go live with your writing, just listen to 2 other people's and give them some sunshine lines. That's all. Okay. Just the expectation is 2 other people. If you want to be someone who never goes live and just takes all this in, that would be great if you could give some people sunshine lines. And that's fine. You can also 100% lurk. I will check everyone's and give some writing love to everyone. So I think that'll work. I think that's a good system. All right. So I've just thrown a ton at you. I'm trying to keep this as short as possible. This class is longer because it's our first time. So after this class is over, which is going to be very, very soon, just minutes. What I want you guys to do is write your random autobiography. If not tonight, tomorrow, find 10 or 20 minutes to do that. Write yours, write it in your journal, type it wherever you want to write it. Pick sunshine lines. Pick your 4 sunshine lines. Email me one of them. And then go live. Share your writing with us. Tell us your random autobiography. And then spread writing love by giving sunshine lines for 2 other people. And again, that's just listening to their piece and writing down the line in the comments that you love the most, that stood out to you the most. All right. And then I will be back here on 710 Live. I will be in our group a ton in the next few weeks. I am going on vacation from 6/29 to 7/9. So I will be quiet during that time. I probably won't be able to resist and I'll come in. But I can't wait to hear your writing, to see what you're reading. Feel free to post deikus. I want to read a closing inspiration, and this was like the Kim Stafford class. I didn't intend it to be. That's what was in front of me and it inspired me. So this is a poem called Dew and Honey. And there's a line about syllables, which I just love. Sip and savor syllables as crumbs of pleasure. And when you're writing deiku, that's certainly something that you'll be doing. So I'm going to read this poem and then I'm going to close out. If you have any questions, please ask them. I know I threw a lot at you today. There'll be time for interacting in our group. And I just wish you the best luck in SumoWriMo. It's going to be a really fun challenge. And here we go with Dew and Honey. Sip by sip in thimble cup, the meadow bees will drink it up. Then ferry home to bounty's hive, by flowers flavor, hum, and thrive, to show us how through word and song, by gesture small and patience long, in spite of our old foolish ways, we may fashion better days. So, my friend, come sip and savor syllables as crumbs of pleasure. By sunrise in our conversation, we begin a better nation. So happy SumoWriMo to you, and I look forward to interacting with you in our group. Bye-bye. I'm going to go get cool now and turn on the air conditioning. Okay, bye.